I think I have the perfect video for you guys today. I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with this video, and I think that a lot of you guys are gonna end up walking away with this, probably with a new perspective. Okay, not saying that I'm a genius or anything, but I mean, I am gonna give you guys at least a decent point throughout this video where you guys can leave probably scratching your heads like, you know what, I never thought of it that way. It's just what I do. I'm just kidding. No, okay, if you're a woman watching this, okay, I believe you can relate to this in some way as well. Okay, let's take a look at it.
The thing I'm most interested in.
Hang on a second, man. We cannot.
In this latest season of my life is intimacy. Intimacy is this word that evokes this idea of sexuality, maybe romance, and that's a big part of it. But I'm talking about every possible use of this word. Intimacy with yourself, with your friends, with the world. Life, I have realized, is all about connection. And I can't explore the idea of connection without talking about love. Romantic love is weird. I mean, there's this immense pressure in society to figure this out, be happy and fulfilled. In fact, I think many people would rank this among the most important things in life. I certainly do. I live in the city of love, for God's sake. How could I not be thinking about this all the time? I mean, it's all around me. And I think I did this on purpose. This is not an accident. I'm drawn to this. I'm drawn to romance. I think it's fun, it's exciting, it's a little bit too much, you know? And I think I am a romantic at heart.
Stop it, Nathaniel. Why are you acting like that? Okay, no, real quick, I want to go ahead and talk about one of his points. Okay, so he said that he put himself in a situation where he thinks about love all the time. Okay, so he said he put himself in Paris to think about this stuff, and he's living in the city of love, right? That's one of the things that I do. Okay, actually, I disassociate myself from love. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I do the antithetical, which is I disassociate myself from love. Okay, so any love movies, any love songs, anything like Disney related that has like Prince Charming and like Cinderella losing her foot, I mean her shoe, or whatever the case is, I don't watch or listen to any of that stuff. I actually stay away from all that. As a matter of fact, a lot of the music that I listen to has no lyrics, because a lot of the stuff I listen to is EDM, which I love the complexities behind EDM. I think sound design is absolutely beautiful, especially when you combine it with that kind of music. It's awesome. Now, the reason why I do this is because I want to stay away from love. Okay, I'm trying to stay away from that because I have a goal right now, and my goal is to try to become something online, try to have a voice, and build a community of people who are intellectuals and people who like to critical think and have talent and stuff like that, you know. Or if you're not one of those people, I also want to attract people who are wanting to become something better than themselves. That's the kind of community I want to attract. So I have a bigger goal in mind. And right now, I feel like if I was to get into a relationship, I feel like it would kind of take away from actually, building this community, because I can't be selfish, you know. When you're in a relationship, you have to give time to your significant other. You can have your significant other supporting you, but I wouldn't want that. I feel like that's kind of selfish, you know. They're telling them to throw away their dreams just so they can support mine. I feel like it's kind of selfish, but at the same time, I think it's pretty cool, and it just shows you like both of you guys are like in this together. But I mean, how often are you actually gonna find somebody like that? Not often. So I'd rather just not deal with it, because since the chances are pretty slim, I'd rather just not invest time into it and just invest time into my career, my future career, which is have some presence online. I don't know, whatever that is. Some people call it influencer. I call it just having a community. Influencer, whatever. Anyways,
It's true. The thing is, there's a gap between what popular culture shows as love,
Disney,
and what my romantic life actually looks like.
Reality. This is all Disney's fault right here, and I'm pretty sure that there's other movies and stuff like the Wedding Crashers stuff. Oh man, sometimes I get mad at this, okay? Because you'll see stuff like My Dress Up Darling. You ever heard of that? Well, that's an anime that was created in Japan. All right, now this girl is absolutely asinine, okay? And I really mean that, because this girl will get in front of, she will get like stripped down naked in front of like this guy, and to me, I just scratch myself like, do girls actually do this in real life? And I'm pretty sure that they don't, okay? Who would do that, especially at school? Okay, she did that at school. Imagine if the principal walked in and saw that. Like, dude, you're gonna walk out of there in a bikini, man, or a two-piece swimsuit, and then the other guy's just gonna walk right behind her. Like, what were these guys doing? You know? So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like pop culture just, it's so fake. It kind of makes me mad. And in reality is obviously not like that, especially nowadays where nobody can talk to each other. So It's horrible.
And, you know, there have been some beautiful experiences, but there's also been a lot of frustration and confusion as well. It's felt a little bit more like I'm stumbling my way through this. These are the things that I'm learning.
I don't know what it is, but I'll do anything for you.
Dating is hard. I'm pretty sure it's hard for everybody, although I can only speak for myself. The rules for romance used to be a lot simpler in the past. Religion banned sex before marriage, so that solves that problem. And it's well documented that marriage was never for love in the first place. Marriage was for the wealthy and powerful to maintain their wealth and their power. It was strategic. Love came later. You see, the thing is, the church doesn't have the power that it used to. While I do have friends that are waiting until marriage to have sex, and I do respect their decision, I am not a religious man. With secularism has come the disappearance of the clear rules of what is and isn't allowed. And what has replaced those clear rules is this giant question mark, this gray area. Let's take the confusing world of hookups, for example.
Real quick, I just want to say, I think that everybody's starting to wake up to it. Like, you know, like the thing is that marriage, I feel like it kind of screws both genders. Now, for a long time, it's kind of been looked at as like, you know, the man is the one who's screwed into that relationship. But the thing is, all right, women nowadays, they're making their own money, okay? If you get married with a woman, guess what? Now you could take half of her stuff. You could be a bum doing nothing, and you could end up taking half of her stuff. So now, because women are starting to become more independent, they have their own money, I believe that women are probably going to experience it if they end up getting married. But that's only a if, because nowadays most women are thinking about marriage, but in most cases they divorce. So it seems to me like marriage isn't even the answer anymore, but who knows?
Hookups from the outside seem fun. The freedom to hook up in today's world seems like a progressive victory. Sex positivity. If you want it, you can go and get it. You know, your sexual desires are no longer a sin. But the thing is, I don't know, my own experiences with hookups have been, for the most part, quite unfulfilling. A little bit like eating potato chips. Empty carbs, and it fulfills a desire in the moment, but is it fulfilling in the long term? That's a question I keep asking myself. The tricky thing, though, is that we live in a world where this kind of behavior is almost encouraged. It's so accessible, it's so easy. And it's hard not to feel a little bit of FOMO when you hear the stories of your friends off on their own adventures.
Is this really, like, is it, I just can't imagine it being so accessible, honestly. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, imagine like you have a guy trying to like hit you up, like you don't know this guy. I'm pretty sure there's like some sense of fear there, and then like guys are too afraid to approach girls. I don't know, man. It doesn't really sound that accessible to me, at least. I don't know, but I don't know.
When I first began gathering my thoughts on the subject, I placed my blame on things like the dating apps. Finding a mate has been reduced to text messages and swiping. Except I don't think that's right. Some people do find love through the apps, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think the issue I keep coming up against is more so the culture of these apps and the speed at which we move today. The value of interactions is cheapened. You know, if it doesn't work out with somebody, it's so easy to just find another replacement. It's just very transactional. And
what is it with these eggplants, bro? These eggplants are distracting me from the main topic. Okay, real quick, I just want to go ahead and chime in. Okay, I want to go ahead and talk about really quick. He said something about like these social media apps or whatever. I think Tinder, right? He didn't say that, but dating apps. Okay, from what I've heard, now I don't know if this is true, but from what I've heard is that social media apps aren't even used for dating. According to some guy I saw online, okay? He did the research. I'm going to go ahead and trust him because he seems to have like the best, he has the best interest in mind for everybody. But I don't know. You can go ahead and fact check this. If you find something different, please let me know in the comment section below, and make sure you source it, okay? I'm not about to take your word for it. But anyways, he said that most social medias, most dating apps are used to boost one's ego. I can't imagine that. I don't know how, but I maybe have a bunch of people just hit you up at once to try to see. But from what I've checked, last time I checked, the majority of the dating, the majority of the demographics were men, and there's very, very few women there. So, and the reason why I'm like saying that is because from what I've heard too as well, they've done studies on this. I don't remember the study. Maybe I shouldn't even quote this, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it just in case you guys go and find it. But apparently, like, universities right now have like a huge number of women and very few number of men. And a lot of these men have like this idea, this egotistical idea that they're like the best ones, the best choices. And so like all these women are trying to like get with this one guy because there's so many options for him, since he's in an environment where there's more women than guys. So you see, so I'm kind of going off of that example. It could be the same thing for dating apps, but I don't know. It could be different.
Removed from a more organic way of meeting people. I know it's a weird thing to say this, especially because for generations that came before us, it would have been awful to say this. They didn't have this problem, but it feels like there are too many choices. And as a man, and I'm sure this is the case for many women as well, okay? But I'm just speaking from my own perspective here. I feel replaceable, you know? I feel like I'm competing with the entire world. Ironically, all of this might be leading to less connection. Studies are showing that Gen Z is having sexual experiences far less than previous generations.
Do people really do feel like they're competing with the rest of the world? Like, I do not feel like that. I feel like people are just very afraid to talk to one another, honestly, and that's why I don't talk to people, you know? I also don't talk to people because I feel like I have my own goals that I have to achieve first before I can go out and talk with people, because I can't really give my time to people. Does that make sense?
Okay, and to complicate things further, if you choose to go off the beaten path, it becomes even more difficult to connect with people. What are the two easiest ways to make connections as an adult? School and work. And I didn't choose conventional paths for either of those things. And while this is unique to me, I think the world is going through a change, and more of us are finding ourselves in these sorts of situations. Do you work from home? Are you starting your own business? It feels like I'm not alone in this. I would be lying if I didn't say that loneliness played a big role in all of this. You know, it's a very, very attractive idea to have a life partner, somebody to share the joys and experiences that you go through with. Am I waxing lyrical right now? Yeah, probably. I'm being a little bit of a romantic. Then there's the validation that comes with all of this that complicates everything even further. We all have our insecurities. I have my insecurities. And there's nothing like feeling attractive to somebody that you're attracted to. I have surprised myself by the lengths to which I have gone to look for this. And so, without meaning to, or without doing so consciously, I fell into this culture of quick consumption, this crusade against loneliness, this hunt for validation. And that led me to hookups and one-night stands. So what happens exactly? You sit down to meet this stranger. You have a few hours to eat or talk or walk around. Maybe you're laughing and touching each other's hands. But to figure out if we're actually compatible, that takes way, way longer. I'm a very emotional man, so I don't know how universal what I'm about to say is, but looking back, the sex that I've had without an emotional connection is just nowhere near as good. It's almost like it's not even the same thing at all. So why do this?
Real quick, hold on, before we switch topics, I want to go ahead and talk about that compatibility issue, okay? So one of the things that I've learned being in a 7-year relationship is that, like, in order for you to be compatible with the person you are with, I feel like everybody starts off like kind of with conflicting ideologies. And then slowly but surely you start to gradually learn how to live with one another, because that's how compatibility starts to be built. So I feel like you have to build that compatibility. It's not that you guys are compatible as soon as you guys meet. It's that you guys have to kind of work on each other's ideologies and see how you guys can tolerate each other if you guys like to like debate and stuff like that. But whatever the case is, you guys have to find a way to like be compatible. There's no, I'm no longer believing the fact that like you have to find somebody who's compatible. No, I know from experience that you have to build up that compatibility and negotiate. It's kind of like a negotiation, but it's not really a negotiation, because that's more like business. Like, this isn't a business, it's just more of like learning how to live with another person. So I feel like you have to build on that compatibility.
Sex with strangers leaves me feeling empty. Why do it at all? That brings us back to the gigantic void that now exists since the religious restrictions of the past no longer exist. There is no playbook. But funnily enough, in the absence of a playbook, you're still very much influenced by your peers, your family, the people around you. And as a man, I have felt tremendous pressure to accumulate sexual experiences. Now, I don't think this necessarily applies to everybody, but I have seen it in most men.
Yeah, hey, real quick, I want to go ahead and talk about that issue, okay? He said that he felt pressure to accumulate all of these sexual experiences. Bro, you have no idea. As a man, and especially when you have a circle of friends who are all dudes, they're all telling you, not all dudes, okay? But some dudes, you're going to have some friends that are just going to be pressuring you. They're going to pressure you to want to pursue a career in playerism. I don't know if that's a word. Anyways, they encourage you to be a player, to go out there and like mess around with a bunch of girls. And I almost fell for that trap, but I ended up pulling back because I almost became a player. Okay, I dressed the part and everything. I've showed my picture on this, not on the stream, but on one of the videos before, and I was all pimped out. You know, I was talking to 7 different girls, and it just wasn't for me. I pulled out of that because it just wasn't for me. Because for me, I actually like to build a connection with the person. Okay, I don't just like to just talk and then just feed them emotion and then just toss them aside. I always felt like that was just very inconsiderate, and I always also felt that I was gonna attract somebody who I did not like at all, because I was just like being like that person who's just ignoring people, you know. No, I actually like to sit down and listen to them. And when I was actually listening to people, I didn't know it at the time, but I actually liked a lot of the girls that I was talking to. You know, there was a girl that I was talking to that had straight A's, and she ended up going to UCLA. Bro, I never thought I was gonna be talking to a girl like that, you know. And there was other girls too who wanted to like learn sign language and wanted to work with kids who were deaf. Like, dude, these women were already thinking about this stuff at the age of 18, 19, you know. I was 21 at the time, and they were already thinking of doing stuff like that, which was pretty awesome. But then there was always like, you know, a couple of girls that just like, they just like messing around. They like playing what do you call it, hard to get, and I really hated that. That was so like boring and annoying. I really did not like that. And then there was other girls who just wanted to just jump straight into a relationship, which was weird. You know, I obviously rejected those because I felt very uncomfortable to move that fast. But there was those moments.
There's just too much bragging and boasting going on for there not to be. And it's easy to look back on my experiences and criticize myself. But at the same time, how else are you supposed to figure out what you do and do not like? This is how it works, especially since there is no playbook to work off of. Ultimately, is hooking up a bad thing? No, not at all. And I don't regret any of my experiences. It has led to a lot of stretching and growing as a person. But the most important piece probably of it all is that it's shown me what I really do care about. And that piece is priceless. It can be really fun in the moment, but I have to remind myself, I can't forget that it's not a replacement for the deeper thing that I'm really looking for. In this way, you can be naked with a stranger and still there's no real intimacy to be found. Loneliness is the reason why some men listen to pickup artists on how to say what they need to say and when to bring somebody home with them.
Stay away from those guys, okay? If there's women out there who are giving you advice on dating, stay away from that. If there's men out there giving you advice on how to date, stay away from that as well, okay? I really don't know what the answer is to this. All you really have to do is just go out there and just talk to people, okay? Just go out there and talk to people. Now, that's easier said than done, but one of the ways that I found myself to talk to people is I should make an entire video on this, because I'm actually pretty good at talking with people. It's just that I can't maintain those relationships because it's difficult, you know. I have things I want to do and I can't really maintain them, but I have learned how to talk with people and with women as well, okay? I know there's a lot of guys out there that are scared to talk to women. I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, okay? I don't cold approach. Cold approaching, I feel like it brings a lot of fear into a woman, and it might even bring fear into a man as well, if you are a guy trying to talk to a guy. But it can also bring fear into a guy if you're also a woman. I remember seeing a video where like this woman went up to a guy and she started singing to him, and like he was really creeped out, which is weird. But nonetheless, I usually go to like places that I consistently go to, consistently eat, consistently visit, and I usually talk to people and make friends there. And because they see me so much, we establish rapport and we communicate more often. So that's just a quick synopsis of what I do. And I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, I've gotten discounts just because I've like talked to them, I give them tip too. Like, you're not even supposed to be giving like cashiers tips, because I used to work as a cashier. You're not supposed to be giving cashiers tips, but I give it to them anyways. I'm like, here, just take it, man, go ahead, buy yourself a book, buy yourself something, lunch, I don't care. That's because that to me shows me that you're investing into the person, that you're investing into me. So do stuff like that. Do stuff that regular customers wouldn't do. That's something that I advise you guys to do if you guys want to make friends.
but how could a play-by-play guide on what to say and how and when ever truly answer the real question, the deeper question of connection? The thing that has tricked me, if you will, into relationships with women that I ultimately wasn't compatible with was attraction. It's an incredibly powerful drug, and it makes you blind. But that's all that it is, attraction, not love. I sense that being in love is something deeper. I think the reason why I'm running around in circles desperately trying to figure this all out is because deep down, I'm a little scared. I'm intellectualizing something that isn't a math problem that I can't rationally solve because my only other alternative is to trust life and that things will work out. There's a line in the film Before Sunset, one of my favorite movies of all time, that perfectly captures my feelings on this subject. I'm not gonna give away any spoilers, but basically the two protagonists are talking about their frustrations in their romantic lives. And Celine says to Jesse,
I guess when you're young, just believe there'll be many people with whom you connect with. And later in life, you realize it only happens a few times.
and it
God, that's scary, man, to think about that it only happens a couple of times, even a few times in life. That's pretty scary. Imagine if you have rarely any interactions with people, you're really gonna ever find that connection. And I feel like we're moving towards a world where more and more we're starting to isolate ourselves from people. That's why that's why I have hope for the metaverse. Yep, the metaverse is gonna bring us together. I promise you, Mark Zuckerberg, he's working on something that's gonna be revolutionary. Okay, maybe I'm dumb for thinking that, but who knows, man? People like him are probably gonna bring people together. Who knows?
It's one of those movie lines that echoes around in my head, even though I first heard it a long time ago. In a sense, it's a painful thought, a frightening thought, because those special connections don't happen as often as we'd like them to. And I can add pressure and I can try to create timelines for when this should happen, but ultimately all of that just makes things worse. And I can sit here and lament that. But maybe it isn't such a bad thing that these connections don't happen every day. Maybe that's what makes the times that it does work out so special. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really experimenting with
That's the end of the video, bro. I love this video. This video was pretty informative. It was pretty awesome. Gave me a perspective of what he thinks, where he's at in life, and it's awesome, man. I think I wonder what he's gonna be thinking once he hits 30. Hopefully he's like evolved from this, but usually like the best way to make friends is just, they used to have this technique called frog, because I used to attend a lot of business meetings. So there's like this this thing called frog where it's it's called family, recreation, occupation, and I think it's personal. No, frog, goals. Okay. So what family stands for, like, you know, asking where they're from, where they live, how's family. Recreation is like, what do they do for hobbies, what's their favorite thing to do they read. Occupation, what do they do for a living. Goals, what kind of goals do they set themselves, do they have any goals for the future, stuff like that. Like, those are like the 4 topics that people always gravitate towards whenever they're in a conversation, because they want to get to know a person. Okay, so it's as simple as frog. So just rewind that if you really want to know the acronym. And like I said, you know, the best way to get to know somebody or to talk to people is to kind of just keep going to these places that you find consistently. Do you like eating at a favorite restaurant and you go there consistently? Go there consistently and just keep going, and you'll end up talking to somebody. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is what I think. Okay, I go to Chipotle. Okay, that used to be a favorite place of mine. Okay, I used to go to Chipotle so often that I would see some of the same people frequently. Okay, I would be able to talk to them only because they've already seen me go there a couple times, and because I've gone there a couple times, they already know that I'm no harm. I go in there, I get my food, walk out. I've done that at least 50 times. So imagine I go there for the 51st time and I actually sit there and try to talk to the person and be like, you know, hey, I always see you here, you have a nice smile, like, you know, you look cool, man, and I really like it when you serve me, like, you know, it's cool. Or sometimes, like I did, I'll end up giving them like $10. I'll be like, hey bro, food's on me. I like the way you serve. You're always chill, you're always talking, you're always greeting me. I like that, you know, go ahead. I go in there so confidently and so chill, and I end up getting, dude, I'm not even kidding how many times I've gotten free bowls. I've gotten free Chipotle, free Chipotle chips, free guac, free bowls. Dude, it's amazing when you like go to a place so frequent and you end up making friends. Dude, people love you, man. I've gotten so many free things that it's not even funny. Like I said earlier, you know, I ended up getting discounts. Dude, I'm not gonna. This wasn't at Chipotle, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys this. And by the way, you're not even supposed to be giving out. Restaurants are not supposed to be giving out this discount. It's called a police discount. Even police officers discourage their officers to not take that discount. And restaurants aren't supposed to have it, but nonetheless, I would go to I went to one restaurant and they will give me police discounts all the time, and I didn't even want it. I did not ask for it. It was all because I was just treating them like cool, you know. I was just like tipping them when I wasn't supposed to. You're not supposed to receive tips when you're a cashier, but I was just tipping them because yeah, it's a little more money. You're spending a little more money, but it's not about that. It's about the relationship that you end up establishing. And I've made a lot of friends like that. I've met girls like that too. I had this one girl that I ended up complimenting and I stunned her just because I said, you know, I really like the way you comb your hair. I will always go in there and I will see her with perfectly coiffed hair, and I had no choice but to compliment it. She got stunned, and I'm gonna tell you this, okay? As soon as she gave me my receipt, I took a look at it and she charged me twice for an order that I made. And I had to go back and I had to tell her, oh, you double charged me. And the reason why she did that was because she was so stunned that I told her that she was very pretty, that she ended up messing up my order. By the way, she ended up getting in trouble too, so I felt bad for doing that. But it happens. That happens. When you see somebody so frequently, they're not going to sit there and think that you're some sort of stranger that's trying to kidnap them. No, they're just going to think that you're just another customer who likes to go there frequently. And I'm not talking about going there every single day, okay? No, okay? I'm talking about, I used to go every other week, okay? Every other day or so, or every week, every weekend. So they will see me frequently, and they will see that I would bring home a big order, whatever the case is. And so like they've already dropped their guard. They know that I'm not gonna do anything because I've been there like 50 times. I haven't done anything. I'm not gonna do anything. So when I go there for the 51st time, why would they think that I'm up to something? You know, some people who are very paranoid, they could probably think that I'm up to something. But I mean, come on, man, like 50 times, you haven't done anything? That's almost like a whole year if you go every year. So I don't know. That's kind of like my little advice to you guys. Hopefully that works, and if not, I really don't know. To each their own. They all have their own style of getting to know people, you know. So yeah. Anyways, I hope that helped in some way. Yeah, I just kind of want to talk about that.